Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with another installment of Mutant Monday, and this time we'll be talking about Ten of Swords, chapters 17, 18, and 19. Just got 3 more chapters to go after these, and that'll be it. So anyway, we'll kick things off looking at X Force number 14, which is chapter 17 of Ten of Swords. Now, we begin in the floating gardens of Roma Regina. Once again, Pog and Magic are being forced to fight one another. In unarmed combat this time. No weapons. They will fight as they are. And Pog swallows Magic whole. Before he does, however, she starts to talk about something she's learned since they last fought. And then Pog notes that his stomach feels kind of funny. And Magic bursts out from his gut saying that Pog means sword in Iraqi. Basically, Pog's big, huge look of, being like a six-armed alligator-type creature, it's one big sword. And so, Magic takes down Pog. We then see a gauntlet of battles. Let's see. Was it listed in here, or was it in one of the others? Moving rocks. Being tortured, moving rocks, swimming. There's an eating contest of these first few. The first three I mentioned were won by Araco. Basically, Krakoa didn't win a lot of contests. There was a foot race through the Crooked Market between Captain Avalon and Redroot the Forest, with Saturnine trying to once again to manipulate Captain Avalon to her liking. However, she has some armored drones to attack him during the race, causing him to technically lose the race. However, over the course of the race, Redroot knocks over a priceless vase and is therefore imprisoned. Captain Avalon, it said, will likely have a similar, but Redroot is imprisoned in a debtor's oubliette. And Saturnine explains to Captain Avalon that a similar fate awaits him unless he asks for her help. We then do get an amusing prose section. Basically, it's the notes that Mojo has been receiving about the contest. Captain Britain lost to Iska the Unbeaten. In a duel of swords, Betsy Braddock lost to Iska. Iska didn't just kill Betsy Hubbard. She shattered her into crystal shards that were promptly whisked away by Saturnine's attendants on Our Lady's orders. A note on this one from Mojo. This could be an episode cliffhanger for the television event. Draft a script, Domo. Domo being one of Mojo's high-ranking lieutenants. Major Domo. Next up, Magic lost to Pog. just the first time in their arm wrestling match. There was, however, a rematch in which she trounced him. This one, the note on this one, in our version of this for the show, let's have Magic lose both times and become Pog's love interest afterwards. Next, Wolverine and Summoner fought to the death. Wolverine won the fight, but the point was awarded to Summoner since the goal was fighting to die. Which, I'm sorry, that's just some bullshit. Dance-off. Cypher fared surprisingly well, though Arakko took the point. Don't want to make a note for Headshot TM that there's spin-off potential here. Eating competition. At a table catered with purchases from the Crooked Market, contestants imbibed in Singularity aged fung cheese, dry dory rot crab mustard, inert hot hive spiced venom jam, and an earthen mayo asparagus jello mold. Cypher was the first to lose, citing the abalone and emberfly tea as too spicy. Redroot won this battle handedly, employing her field of decay to turn the table's contents into rot. Then she inhaled it all in one go. I thought that Arakko won. I thought Krakoa won the eating contest. Yeah, according to the issue, it says she won. It says Krakoa won. We get a note from Mojo, however, saying that Icy Saturn has been watching Earth's television as well. What a hack! Drinking contest. Our Lady drew a card for both food and drink, it seems. Down by 2 points, Krakoa, Storm, and Wolverine participated in a drinking contest against one another, winning by default. But little did they know, both would still have to compete after this, whilst entirely drunk. Then came a runway walk-off. Arakko took the point while Storm and Wolverine stole the show, although not because Logan was good at this. He was simply so uncomfortable that it was hard to look away from him, while Storm started the catwalk with a confident, swaggering walk, though it is believed that was due to her inebriation. Finally, Wolverine loses again. Drunk and without his powers, Wolverine was summoned to fight on Sullivan's behalf against War and won the point for Arakko. A note from Mojo on this final point. Let's give a nod to historical accuracy and also maintain the X-Men's obliterative losing streak in our retelling of these events. We'll hammer it down as Wolverine's heel turn. Tell Mark to prepare for the ultimate betrayal. We then get a riddle contest. Looks like Magic, Iska, Gorgon, Bay the Bloodblade, Death, and I can't tell who else that is with her. Then we have the White Sword and Wolverine having to look upon the faces of all those whose lives they destroyed. Basically, see the faces of your victims, and you can't look away. Don't even blink. The White Sword wins this one. Magic somehow loses the riddle contest. Then we've got a self-restraint contest. I don't recall who Rocky's champions were for this one, but Krakoa champions were Magic, Wolverine, and Gorgon. And Gorgon loses it for for Krakoa. War and Captain Avalon are instructed to kill a kitten, while Captain Avalon refuses to do so. War has no problem with the concept. We then have a write-up on the booze that Storm and Wolverine were drinking. Blight Swill. If the bones of great and towering lizards could one day become an ocean of oil, then what will be born of fallen worlds and collapsed realities? What wealth can be harvested from the realm of Blightspoke? It's blood, for one. It is a summery gold, like liquid sunshine, with a flavor as delicious as spicy nectar and an inebriating punch that would dizzy the stoutest constitution. But beware any indulgence, because it is a distillation of the fallen, the essence of depletion, a rotten form of energy. Among the mutants, it is proven to be deadly at worst, and a severe drain inhibitor at best, as it leeches the very thing that makes one special, as if thirsty itself for what it once possessed. Power. The length and severity of its effect is entirely dependent upon how much one has imbibed, and Wolverine and Storm imbibed quite a lot. He has a healing factor that pushed the poison through his system relatively quickly. She does not. And so, Storm comes to in Sevolith in front of Death, who's asking her to dance. She explains that she can barely stand, let alone fight. However, Death says that, well, you have to fight, unless you choose to forfeit. But, yeah, she's not going to forfeit. She will still fight. Drunk as she is, she will still fight. And so, their fight begins. Storm noting that she's more than poisoned, she feels vacant. The wind that always surrounds her like a song, and the electricity that hums like nerve endings is gone. Her powers, in fact, are gone. Death, basically, says to her, as sick as she is, Death will be a welcome kiss. However, Storm says, you assume I will lose. Let's make something perfectly clear. My power don't make me powerful, she says, as she shatters Death's sword. So Death says, okay, fine. Does this long enough, removes his helmet, says to Storm that he's tired of dancing, and now she can look upon the last face that all life sees. And she holds up the blade of covers her eyes, holds up the blade of her sword, and says, "You first." And so his aura of death, so to speak, hits him instead. And then, with her eyes still covered, she says that she too is tired of dancing and guts him, gaining first blood and therefore a win. As the residents of Sevolith swarm his body. The issue ends with a quote from Solemn: "One day, whatever you own will belong to someone else. Whatever you build will be broken. Whatever you love will die. So today you may as well lie and screw and steal and murder and scream with abandon. Don't you think? Because tomorrow knows no mercy." Which then brings us to part 18. Once I get this friggin' thing back to the friggin' bag. In Hellions number 6. So, the Hellions had, as none of the Hellions were picked as any of the sword bearers, Mr. Sinister volunteered them for a special mission before the contest began. Basically, to infiltrate Araco and make their way to Araco and steal the blades of the Iraqi sword bearers. Yeah, it was decided also, however, that Sinister would go with the Hellions, which was not something he really much cared for. So we begin with a quote from Tarn the Uncaring. "I do not scorn your fear nor condemn your hatred. Though these show your heart has wisdom. We come to end you." And so the Hellions arrive in Dryador, or Araco, to the Dryador Gate. Starving. Apparently they took the scenic route. And they come upon Tarn the Uncaring, who telepathically enters Sinister's mind to find out just what it was that was on Sinister's mind when they made their way through. Apparently Sinister, one of the genes of Araco's mutants. And so Tarn introduces the Locust Vile, the sin-blooded scourge of Amenth. There's a full write-up on them, and he actually says, "To me, my Locust Vile, these things are holy to the vile. To abandon yourself, become the canvas of Tarn. To be feared and hated throughout Amenth, proving the sacrilege of your being. To usher Tarn to new lands so he may pervert the fauna there." And then he's referred to as the great genomic mage, Tarn the Uncaring. "The helix bends to Tarn's will. He thinks music and atoms dance. Amanthian mutants gift themselves to Tarn, who sculpts their genes anew. So begins the pilgrimage of pain toward a more profound mutation. Many perish. Those who live follow him as their god, praying for macro mutation. Know the locust vile, Mother Rapture, the tamer of the bladefish, the mother of the second birth, that journey into death. Hex Butcher, for his speed he must eat, for his strength he must eat, for his joy he must eat. And so he butchers, and so he eats, and watching, Amino Fetus covets. Sick bird, she of brittle bones, maned with tentacles of marrow and nerve, her spine spikes bring sepsis and mock coagulation. Worming their way to your spine, evading that sacred cord, she finds communion, knowing the whole of you. Mudgear the recanter, the tumored one, whose gift will bring him death, but first his enemies. From each orifice of his disfigured arm, a geyser of death. Praise Tarn. And finally, Amino Fetus, the lumbering shame, whose touch stuffs the ember of mutation. Know his grasp, no humiliation. But, most vitally know this, Amino Fetus must not eat. And we'll take a quick, I'll show you how they look. I gotta say, it's a really neat, that is always a trope I do enjoy. Having in X-Men comics, basically a evil X-Men. Sinister thinks that the Vile is just beautiful, and Tarn explains that they are beautiful, and they are Tarns. Their mutation is exalted, then defiled by him. He's seen the desire of Sinister's heart, and knows it well. He also came to plunder Arakko while Genesis feuds. However, it's suggested that he rid himself of the notion he will pluck the Vile for his garden, because the Vile is Tarn's work, and he has signed their souls. And so he pulls out his genetic collection drones. And so Tarn instructs the Vile to make murder with Mudgear seemingly killing Nanny, which causes Empath to run away, terrified, returning control of Scalp Hunter's brain to himself. Orphan Maker starts firing. Orphan Maker's pissed, to put it lightly. Psylocke and Grey Crow get back to back, ready to fight him with his guns, her with her blades, one conventional, one psychic. Havoc begins to charge up, only to have his hands cut off. Grey Crow gets injured. Psylocke is actually saved by none other than Orphan Maker. However, Amino Fetus grabs Orphan Maker, rips off his arms, and then prepares to eat him. So the rest of the Vile tries to stop Amino Fetus from eating Orphan Maker. Sinister's drones come back and gives the box of them to Psylocke and tells her, hey, take care of this package and I'll continue taking care of yours. And so she tells Wild Child to buy them some time. And it seems as though the only two to make it through are Psylocke, Grey Crow, and Havoc. And we get a letter from one of the rangers in Avalon. News from the Pintock hatchery of East Ride, or what remains of it. I know Saturn wants her horseback, but after the contest, I pray our luminous Majestrix remembers justice for these well-born fishmen. But to the task at hand. My scouts have combed the lands in search of the omniversal steed per the Silkmane. They bring word our horse thieves grow desperate. After losing the brigands in the feculent forest, we're certain they traveled over the Bridge of Lost Sights to the in an ill-informed play to cross the unsanctioned gateway to Morocco. They must have found Morocco as inhospitable as legend, for our fear matron intuited half their number quickly returned and fled the opposite direction. One struck out on his own, while 3 others set out together, one bleeding profusely. The trio was next seen by a kindly river mage who helped them cross the river of Golden Spawn. When discovered, they begged for his silence, which he granted for a day's time, as is the way of Obok Tok. They took a bear shark for food in the alkaloid steppes before disappearing into the dry sea of hovering kelp. 2 of my twinlings caught the single pillager among the harvest of pearls, but he was anointed with some unholy luck as my brothers began attacking each other, overtaken with familial grievances. The twinlings would have fallen in the fratricidal melee had they not been pulled apart by kindly shucker dwarves. Sadly, the thief escaped. The good news is the bandits are obviously rattled. I surmise they may try the Avalon Gate, from where I suspect they came, hoping for a gentle reception on Krakoa's soil. If so, I have my best priestesses lying in wait. You may ask why I report on everything but the horse. The answer is tragic, I'm afraid. I found no evidence Princess Silkmane survived the thieves' journey to Morocco, and I cannot in good conscience send my scouts into that hell. This, of course, will have to be explained to the Universal Magistrates when I return. You'll excuse me, I plan to finish off the limes meat you so kindly gifted me at my training's end, but to enjoy my last night in the Order. Yours, Princess Drashana of the Rangers. At the Avalon Gate, Havoc, Greycrow, and Psylocke make it, and are promptly found by the quartet of the warrior priestesses. And thankfully, Empath saves them. Greycrow slips back into being Empath's slave. We'll get close enough to Empath to open his stomach, gutting him. And he says that, he tells Empath, you better stay awake, because if you die here, your brain gets scrambled up for good. So pick up your guts and get going. Crawl. And so the 3 of them make it through the gate and are quite happy. However, suddenly massive billowing smoke appears. Psylocke is run through by Sinister. Havoc is shot in the head by Sinister. And Greycrow is remotely decomposed by Sinister, as Greycrow is one of Sinister's old clones. Empath makes it through the gate and promptly collapses dead on the other side, surviving at least long enough so that he can, have died on Krakoa rather than in Otherworld. Sinister then feigns shock and pain, and his Hellions are dead, and that's where he runs off. That is where the issue ends. Which brings us to our final entrant. Ten of Swords chapter 19 and Cable number 6. It's funny, I thought that Cable started a month ahead of Hellions, but maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe they skipped them. I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe Hellions got doubled. Hellions may have been doubled up on. Anyway, we begin with a quote from Scott Summers. The future will come fast enough, son. There's no reason to rush it. So we pick up actually where Hellions left off. What remains of the council is waiting to hear from Sinister. Sinister, after calling the council together, stopped to go get himself a new cape. Because, he insults Kate's former fashion sense. Though at least says, hey, now that you're on Emma's good side, you got good fashion. You're able to actually, wear things that look good. So, but because of your past past choices, don't talk to me. Sinister is very much in favor of getting rid of the external gate. However, Krakoa tells Xavier that harming the gate is not an option. But basically, Sinister explains that nobody who went over there with swinging a sword over their head is coming back. They're already short a few council members. They have a much more immediate problem. Once the Iraqi mutants chew through Saturnine and Otherworld, they're going to come to Krakoa. In Otherworld, the contest continues. Arakko leads in the tournament 17-6. The first battle will be between Bay the Blood Moon and Cable. And actually, Cable does surprisingly well against her, and he's about to be able to take her down. But then he remembers that Bay is Cypher's wife now. And he hesitates. And she takes him down and beats the holy hell out of him, even breaking his arm. But Cypher stays her hand. And it's decided that while the fight was to the death, some deaths are of the spirit. And so Arakko wins. Cable contacts Jean and as well as Scott to let them know what's going on. They're probably going to lose. It's not looking good. And also explaining that, oh yeah, Cypher is now married to one of the Iraqi mutants, which actually surprises Jean. However, Saturnine is caught wind of what's going on and decides that she's tolerated the telepathic spying long enough, and cuts it off. And so Jean decides, yeah, they're gonna, they're gonna Emma the Cuckoos, and they're gonna, maybe try and punch through the other world together, telepathically punch through the other world together. But basically, they're going to get Nathan back. Don't worry. She tells Scott not to worry. The next duel is between the White Sword and Gorgon. The White Sword explains to Gorgon that the White Sword will face him after making through his swords, all 100 of them. The first 4 fall easily before Gorgon. However, the 5th one gouges out his eyes, and I think the 6th one runs him through. But Gorgon ends up killing 13 of the warriors, the swords sworn to the White Sword. The White Sword explains that Gorgon's life is slipping away, and in a moment it will all be over. And when it is done, the White Sword will restore Gorgon, and Gorgon will serve him. Gorgon picks his blade up and simply says, one of his swords up, and says he walks his own path. The White Sword states that he can impose his will. Gorgon states not over him. And so, the White Sword kills Gorgon. While Cable, Magic, and Cypher look in shock, Apocalypse tells them, "That is how a mutant dies, children." And so the score is now 19-19. And while Saturnine tries to make a long and theatrical speech about who's next, Annihilation cuts her off. Annihilation and Apocalypse both cut her off, as they know exactly what's coming next. A duel fated millennia ago. Apocalypse versus Annihilation. And so we get the battle log. Battle of the First Kill. Isco the Unbeaten versus Captain Britain. Araco won that one. Trial by Wedding, Beta Bloodmoon versus Cypher, points to both. Contest of Arms, Pog versus Magic. Araco won. Race to Death, Summoner versus Wolverine. Araco won. Contest of Cups, Storm versus Wolverine. Krakoa clearly won, because both were Krakoan. Amputation, Stolen versus War. Araco won with an assist from Krakoa. Unarmed Combat, Pog versus Magic. Krakoa won. Torture Endurance, War versus Cable, Captain Avalon, and Gorgon. Araco won. Contest of Boulders, Death, Iska the Unbeaten, and Pog versus Magic. Araco won. Battle Beneath the Waves, Iska the Unbeaten, and the White Sword versus Gorgon. Araco. Contest of Plates, Red Root the Forest versus Cable, Captain Avalon, and Cypher. Yep, okay, yeah, right, Krakoa did win that. Lord of the Dance, May the Blood Moon and War versus Cypher and Wolverine. Araco. Labyrinth Escape, Red Root the Forest versus Pog versus Captain Avalon and Storm. Araco. Jigsaw Battle, Death and War versus Gorgon on Magic. Krakoa won that one. Contest of Couture, Red Root the Forest and War versus Storm and Wolverine. The Walk-Off. Araco won. Blightspoke Navigation, Iska the Unbeaten versus Cable and Magic. Araco won. Foot Race, Red Root the Forest versus Captain Avalon. Araco won. Contest of Letters. Okay, that was the riddle contest. Araco won that one. Rumination Endurance, White Sword versus Wolverine. Araco won, as Wolverine did close his eyes to, and started, while tears began to form. Resist Temptation, Iska the Unbeaten in War versus Gorgon, Magic, and Wolverine. Araco won. Kitten Killing, Captain Avalon versus War. Araco won that one. Drawing First Blood, Death versus Storm. Krakoa won. Battle to the Death, Bay the Blood versus Cable. Araco won. 100 to 1, the White Sword versus Gorgon. Points to both. Final challenge, Annihilation versus Apocalypse. And that is where the issue ends. Now, there are some things I am now wondering about. And as we have 3 more parts before the story's over, there's a good chance some of these will be answered. 1. What will the circumstances, as the previous next few months do show Captain Britain, Betsy Braddock, on the covers to Excalibur. I'm presuming Betsy comes back somehow, and mainly because her death seemed a bit contrived. It was intended to happen. But I'm not talking about by the writers. I'm talking like Saturn intended for Betsy to die and set it up that way. But I think there's more to it than just that. Mainly in part because of the fact that Betsy was shattered into crystal shards and not shattered into bits of flesh and blood and bone. Then what more of Saturnine plan will we see? As she clearly does have a plan, and this is all. And so far, this is working exactly how the game is going exactly how she wants it to. And finally, what'll come of Bay and Doug. But anyway, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal found in the description box down below. We will be back on Wednesday with another installment of the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. And we got a couple more videos for later in the week. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. This is Rock. As always, this is Rock and Spock signing off, saying, "Live long and rock hard."